With Wuthering Waves Endstate Matrix debuting for the patch 3.3, I thought it would be a perfect time to continue our vertical investment guide series after the reception that we got from the first part. And so today I thought we would actually put some of our words, theories, opinions, all of that into action and see how much better do these characters perform with certain sequence nodes unlocked, and ultimately answer the question, is it worth it for you to invest vertically in character X? So we're going to go down a list. We're going to look at some individual characters and individual sequence nodes, and then see how they synergize in a full team in Endstate Matrix, which one could at least make the argument is the most challenging and competitive endgame mode in the game, and as such is the best place to measure the meta and to measure individual character performance. So welcome back to Wuthering Waifus. I am a random guy with a camera, and thank you for watching my content and giving a flying fuck about what I have to say or think about this game. If there's one thing that I do think I know, it's about skill issue players investing vertically to keep up with the sweaty guys. So before we get into it, please like the video and subscribe on YouTube. You can also catch these videos on Rumble now, if you are using that platform to consume any content at all. So on Rumble, the handle is just alprazoman. And then, of course, on YouTube and Twitch, you can find me at real_alprazoman. So let's get into the part 2 of the series. So let's do this. Let's start with our newest team here, our newest resonator, Hiyuki, and what we're told anyhow is her premium team, although I would strongly debate that, and I think it is up for debate, but that can be a topic for another day. Let's look at her sequence nodes and really what this video, what I'm attempting to do here is sort of give a deeper look and put it into action to see, are these sequence nodes actually worth it for you? If you're a Dolphin, it doesn't mean just go ahead and whale or Dolphin on every banner. Do you need sequence nodes for the toughest content in the game? If you can get by without, X, Y, or Z, then why get it? And so, again, don't ask me about that, but ask yourself, is this something that you think makes sense to you? So with Hiyuki, we can come over to our sheet here, and we've updated it with her. If you watched part 1, seeing that we basically went all the way up to Sigrika, because that previous video was done in the last patch. So anyway, with Hiyuki here, we're going to look at her S2 and S3, and then we'll look at Chisa and Lene as well, as that is the first team that we're going to be using. So with Hiyuki, her S2 here essentially is going to increase the damage multiplier of the basic attack, which is good. You're going to be doing a lot. The basic attack Ia is basically the all of the attacks that you're going to be doing during her Resonance Liberation sequence. So after you hit that initial ultimate and she turns blue, that's when you're going to be, so your damage is going to be increased during all of those basic attacks. And you're doing a lot of basic attacks in her rotation. So that is solid. And then on top of that, it's going to restore 3 stacks of the Frost Harden Ia after leaving the field instead of just 1, which is clutch. So really, this sequence node is just going to make the rotation feel a lot smoother. You're basically always going to have all of the stacks of everything that you need to do max damage. You're not going to have to worry about energy management with her at all. And I think even at S0, you probably aren't. She's not one of the more difficult characters to manage energy-wise. But this is a plus. I've noticed it for sure on my account that having that, it was a noticeable increase for sure. For sure. And let's pull up let's scroll down here for the rest of it. And then, of course, the Ephemeral Realm. Oh, that's what we were just talking about, that you're going to get 3 points of the Snowforge Blade instead of just the 1, which is what the inherent skill initially gives you. And then this other thing here is that once she leaves combat and is out for 4 seconds, so basically once her rotation ends, this will be triggered. The Wall and Foreclaim Self restore 3 points of Frost Hardened Ia and resets the cooldown. So that's what I was talking about, the energy situation. It's going to reset the cooldown of the Frostblight Jade Cleave, the resident skill, and then restore an additional 50 points of Frost Heart for the next 2 casts of Jade Cleave or Petal Fall. So it's a good sequence node. I would say it's kind of like icing on the cake if you're going for the S3. Because if you're going for the S3, it's great that you already are getting this on your way to it, right? And the S3, pull up our notes on that as well. I called that the crown jewel, meaning the best early sequence node. I would say anything I would consider an early sequence node, 1, 2, or 3. Going beyond that is no longer considered early, right? So the S3 is going to increase the damage multiplier from the Glacio Bite, which basically you're getting every time you apply Glacio Chafe. And that's coming from the other inherent skill, Snow Rust. And then you get the 160% damage increase to her heavies. So that's a big deal too. And so, yeah, I mean, you're just basically, you're increasing between these two, you're increasing the damage of the basic attacks. You're massively increasing the damage of the Liberation, in particular her second ultimate, and then you're increasing the damage of the instances of Glacio Chafe, which you're basically always going to do. And that's a huge number. Look, 488%. So it's just making it it's a crazy increase. It really is. With Chisa, the S2, which is really the S3, we don't really even need to worry about or look at. Let me pull Chisa up here. The S2 is just going to Havoc Res, not as important for us, but the nearby resonators in the team with Threat of Bane gain 50% all attribute damage bonus. And it is the case that after she applies the marker during her rotation, it is the case that Hiyuki will gain Threat of Bane and get that 50% all attribute damage bonus. So that is a massive, massive upgrade. And then for Shorekeeper, who we're subbing for Lene because she just performs better, at least in this mode. I dare you to test the two side by side, the two teams. With the Hiyuki team, Shorekeeper will give you a higher score. The damage numbers may be the same. So if the damage numbers are the same, but one of them is giving you a higher score, I guess go with that, right? So the only thing really to say about Shorekeeper is that the Outer Stellar Realm, which we will talk about later in the video when we get to the Secret team. as well. So, okay, let's get into the Endstate demo.
Astral modulation.
Contaminated.
Loading. Dismantling the blink of an eye. A pivotal moment. Break apart.
A life as fleeting as the first snow. Little snow. Savor me. Winding me. Follow my moves if you can. May the sakura incinerate. Burn this self away.
Leave it to me.
So we're actually going to do it with Shorekeeper just to maximize the Hyuki's field time, and the score ends up being higher.
Loading. I am loved in you. Lifeline. Flat. In the blink of an eye. Come. Meet your end. This ends here. Cutting through the numbers.
We should have run. Take your final dive into Naraka. Brittle snow. Time to end this. Charge in my way. Evanescent morning dew.
Shut down.
May the sakura incinerate. Burn this self away.
Oath from the heart. Loading. In war with time. In the blink of an eye. Set point math. Nothingness. Deconstructed. Structural collapse. What? Connection 7.
You can trust me. Too late to escape. Let there be snow. Down you go. Not waning me. Be prepared for this. Have you not? Roam above the inferno, gazing at the snow.
So,
Ordained. Astral modulation. Hey. In the blink of an eye. Dead center block. A pivotal moment. Break apart.
as you can see,
Have run.
in this team, you have time for Hayuki to get on the field 3 times. And hopefully, if you're fast enough, you can do 3 whole rotations.
Evanescent morning dew. Vanish. For all wishes spoken, this vessel I offer.
Oh, from the heart. Loading. Pitch. Iron graft in you. Lifeline blocked. The Shorekeeper. This
So that's the kind of score you can get with Hyuki.
with my purpose and drive.
I have a hard time getting a score quite that high with Lene, but with Shorekeeper, um, and really, frankly, it's not that the damage numbers from Hayuki are really any higher. It's that you can get 3 full rotations in the 2 minute. So I have in my previous video, I talked about that with, yeah, in my previous video, I went over that, I tried Hayuki out with 3 different teams. So, you can check that out on my channel. So anyways, so let's talk about Imeth now, her premium team. She remains, I mean, not that she's been out that long, but remains, probably in most people's eyes, the best pure DPS in the game. She does kind of need a lot. I mean, as these other, as characters like Mornier and Lene start to rerun, and then, you know, Denia comes out, more team options starting to open up, but they still all are premium, limited characters that are needed. You know, SIG weapons are usually preferred on a lot of these characters, and so it's not a cheap team. And so really, this is for the Dolphins, right? Because like, that's for the birds. This is for the Dolphins. Yeah, what? But yeah, I think that's a valid point, right? Anyways, so yeah, this information is definitely for you, because if you're F2P, you can do sequence nodes on some other teams, because maybe you can afford to use a Mortifier, a Sanwa somewhere, but not Imeth. So yeah, this really is for the Dolphins. So her S1, you know, kind of like Sigrika. Sigrika's S1 is not what I say is among the best in the game, but her S2 is. With Imeth, her S1 really is very, very good. It just is. The charged attack thing, I cannot stress enough just how amazing that is to have. When you're trying to build up her gauge in her liberation sequence, to more quickly make it to the next resonance skill, and then eventually to the nuke. It just does a fuck ton of damage, and it pulls the enemies in. It just makes things flow so much smoother. And that's at her S1. That's really good value, right? So that is one I would recommend, regardless of how much damage you're wanting to do in the end. If S1 is like all you can really afford to go for, just do it. Spend your pulls, get her S1. She is a sentinel, so she doesn't run as frequently as other characters. So when she comes around again, I'd say pull the trigger if you're thinking about it. I'd lean towards yes. And also allows that instant response to be active outside the liberation, which is really clutch. Her S2 is really good, because it's going to upgrade the damage multipliers of her resonance skill, and you are going to be able to perform 2 of those per rotation. And they're a big chunk of her damage. Obviously, her nuke is where everything, you know, flows from, but to get there, you've got to hit these two resonance skills as her gauge builds up, and it's really nice to have that. And then, as we talked about in the last episode, the fusion burst transfer from enemy to enemy is really, really nice. I wish that every character who has negative statuses had that ability, and I wish it wasn't locked behind a sequence node, because that's a P2W type of deal there. I don't love that, but anyway, that's what it is. That's what Kuro decided to do with this. The S3 is her crown jewel as well. Instant response can trigger Tune Rupture and Fusion Burst, which means she does not need she doesn't need Tune Rupture teammates or Fusion Burst teammates to unlock her potential. Still going to be better with those characters, but serviceable without them. Without this sequence node, however, though, you cannot run her solo, or you cannot run her with like 4-star units. So it's gonna, yeah, but it's gonna remove a lot of the restrictions. And it's going to add a bunch of damage multipliers to her liberation, which is the nuke, right? Well, the two nukes, the little nuke and the big nuke, and it's going to add a bunch of crit damage as well. I'm going to do this quickly. I want to take up too much of your time. Go to Mornier. We already looked at Lene. Go to Mornier. But I would have the same stuff to say about Lene, whether we're talking about Lene or whether we're talking about Imeth or Hyuki. Back to the page. This is super ghetto, huh? The way I'm doing this, but whatever. If more of you like and subscribe and help me get to the next level, then we can upgrade this this ghetto ass program that we have going right now. Anyways, Mornier's S1 is really good. Not as impactful in this team because her S1 really is it unlocks her to be a more generalist support along the lines of Shorekeeper, right? Makes her competitive as Shorekeeper in every team. Her S2 is unbelievable. It's going to proc Toon Break more often, and it's going to enhance those crit buffs that she already gives. And so that's that. Why don't we let's pull up the S2 to see exactly what it does. So all nearby resonators gain crit damage increase against targets with the interfered marker, which she's pretty much always going to apply every rotation. Every 1% of Mornier's energy regen over 100% grants 0.2% crit damage up to 32%. So I believe that's 32% crit damage, which I believe the math adds up to like 260% energy regen. That's why that's the number you want to hit for her ER. So make sure that you are hitting that. Regardless of it, you still want that, whether you have the S2 or not, but especially if you have it. So double check your energy regen on Mornier on that build. Symphony Field and High Symphony Field further increase the off-tune build-up rate of all nearby resonators in the team by 20%. So, yeah. Really, really good. Good stuff. So, we'll go and do this team now. And, I mean, this team is just flow. It's like smooth as butter, you know? And one of the most fun teams to play, I think. So yeah, we're going to, in my estimation, you're looking here, what I'm showing you, the top 3 overall teams in Wuthering Waves, and at the very least, in Endstate Matrix, but I think Endstate Matrix is Wuthering Waves.
All targets in sight. Structural override in the stars. Hear my queries. Attack confirmed. Drive safe. Special delivery. Go boom! Mind if I fail here? One more. Early on. Souls sing in harmony. To the saviors.
Got to do a little bit of normals before you.
Sparks. Ignite the world. Light arc. End blow. Light show of the finale. Fire. Order confirmed. Cannon hammer. Body limit unlocked. The
You're like, can we get the next enemy? Yes, we still can.
assuming master control. Structural override authorizing maximum output. Order executed. Drive safe. Tie a bow and call that my signature. Mark. New look.
As you can see, those the resident skills are just doing way more damage than at S0.
Cluster cannon ready. The savior rises. Assuming master control. Initiating criticality protocol. Drive safe. Don't blink. You'll miss the best part. Check this out. Hey, where's the fire? Whirling on. System blade cleaves the night. Peril purged in light. The world is mine to guard. Objective logged. From the sky. Fly high. Truth. Reach the cosmos. Error. Light wings activated. Stars shine tonight. Assuming master control. Authorizing maximum output.
Nice tune break in there, and
I need not wait for a starry night. Nor
so not too bad, and can be a lot better. But
For I have
okay, so now we're gonna look at Sigrika and her premium team. And as we went over in the last video, her S1 and S2 are some of the best that I've seen in recent memory, along with Imeth. She's just, I mean, her SIG weapon is still a priority over her sequence nodes, because without her SIG weapon, she really is just, she's not a good character. It's amazing how mediocre of a character she is, and then throwing that SIG weapon on her, she becomes a top 2 or 3 DPS. Get her S1 and preferably S2, then you're looking at the best DPS in the game, I think. Still debatable, but the argument can be made for sure. For sure. So the S1 here is basically just going to upgrade the basic attack and the resonance skill, which you're going to be using a fair amount of both of those, particularly the basic attack. You're doing several, you're doing a couple strings of basics in between the echo skill and then the ultimate, and then the resonance skill nuke thingy at the end of the rotation. So yeah, the damage multipliers, the basic attack, elucidated dodge counter, decipher, res skill, big booby boom, and soul skin to the 8 are all increased by 70%. And then you get the interruption immunity, which we talked about a lot in the previous video. Please do, by the way, be sure to go and check that out before watching this one if you can, as we do kind of dive deeper into the sequence nodes themselves. There's not any gameplay in that video, but it is a lot of information that I compiled that I thought was important to highlight about these characters and whether you should pull or not, and where to spend your precious pulls, right? So the S1 is very good. The S2 is really where things take off, though. And this one, quite simple. Yeah, the damage multiplier of the 4th circuit, learn my true name, is increased by 120%. That's basically going to upgrade her nuke to next level. And she also will gain one of these divergent runes when not in combat. So it's very good. Very, very good. I don't have Chihuan on here. And a lot of this is again, and you take it for what it's worth. This content that I'm bringing to you is account specific, right? I am sharing my my experiences with this game and on my account what sequence nodes I have and don't have. Chi-Wan is a character I found was totally fine to leave at S0. He can benefit a lot from his S2 because it's going to 30% echo skill damage amp is very clutch for Frolova and Sigrika and Galbrina. So you can always go for that if you want. But I found this team just incredible without it. So and Shorekeeper, I didn't really talk too much about her. But I feel like you guys all know the drill on Shorekeeper. And in the interest of saving time, let's just say Shorekeeper S2 is very good. It's going to, we can look at it. It sends the buff of the Stellar Realm, I believe, by 20%. Yeah, the Outer Stellar Realm increases the 40%, increases the attack of all nearby party members by 40%. So that's a really solid deal, and it just solidifies her spot on this team and really any other team. You can watch my previous video I did, my Hayuki, my basically where I tested Hayuki with Chisa on the team, but then Linne, Mornier, or Shorekeeper. So I tested with all three of them, and surprisingly, Shorekeeper was head and shoulders above the rest. So anyway, for the buff, this season we did not get a solid buff for Sigrika's team. The echo skill damage 20%, but you're already getting the 20% deal here. So it doesn't really make sense. This havoc damage, resonance skill, yeah, no. So, I don't know. It could be how do you say it? Half dozen, 6 to 1, half dozen another. It's going to be probably about the same results. So whatever. We're going to just use the general buff, and I'm trying to demo this not on the astronaut because there's arrow res, and this is primarily an arrow damage team. So anyways, yeah, but we can just demo how much more damage Sigrika is doing with those sequence nodes unlocked. And of course, yes, Shorekeeper's S2 also adding a lot of value there. One of the most valuable cons in the game. Make sure that you're getting Shorekeeper's echo out. You need all the echoes used on this team, obviously.
Death wins hell. My move is the blade.
Just a tiny slit. Just a tiny slit. True name? Illuminate. Just a tiny slit.
Here's the nuke. No, I didn't show a damage number.
Know what explosion means? From the heart. Astral modulation.
I can't tell.
Loading.
What sleeps within bamboo?
I have ER problems with
Mandate calls. Judgment falls.
with Chi-Wan.
Interesting. Break like bamboo.
Very frustrating.
My move is the blade.
So my Chi-Wan build is not great, actually. It's good other than that, but that's a big part of it that you really need. So here's the punching bag. Here's the nuke. Okay, yeah, 1,000,000 damage. Pretty nice. Right? And that is not, you're not needing an S6 character to do 1,000,000 damage, as I just showed you with Imeth as well.
What sleeps within bamboo? Stars realign. Behold this blade, one strike. Settle it all. My move is the blade.
This is it. Straight to the stars.
Ooh, we got the nuke on the astronaut. Unfortunately, it's now the astronaut, so not gonna get a lot more damage out on this bitch.
With time.
What sleeps within bamboo? Nothing that won't heal. But oh, this boy.
Nice friends.
Switch to her and just get a little extra damage in there.
This
So yeah,
This name suits.
okay. So that is what we're gonna stop right there and kind of summarize. Those are your top 3 teams in the meta right now, in my humble opinion. Now, that said, there are a number of other characters that can compete with them, and particularly if you start unlocking their sequence nodes. Wuthering Waves is a game that is pretty forgiving to people that want to invest in different ways in different characters. It is kind of difficult to like totally brick your account by just going in some crazy direction with your polls. The only way really you would do it is if you're just like, I'm only going to use 4-star characters, or like, you know, you refuse to get Shorekeeper or something like that. You know, I know some people that refuse to get Shorekeeper. Whatever. You have Shorekeeper, you get Mornier, and then you can really just you get Lene, you can really just make a lot of things happen with anybody. Chisa is finally starting to come around, you know, and it's looking like there are a ton of great options, but these 3 teams in particular, if you want to go and bring it home with an S3 Imyth or an S3 Hiyuki, you're going to be clearing everything with ease. And again, for a player that's really, really sweaty, you know, I saw someone post a video that was like S0R1 Hiyuki doing 16k damage in Endstate Matrix. I've had people on my stream say that was a lie. There's no way that's possible. You know, a couple people said I have S0R1 Hiyuki and I know how to play her rotations and I can only get, you know, 6k in Endstate Matrix, or I can get 7k or whatever. And then again, like I just told you earlier, remember, I was able to get about 13k. You can see that video I had with Shorekeeper with Hiyuki and Chisa. So whether that's actually true or not, I don't know. But if you do want to be clearing with these and doing crazy damage, you can be hitting 1 million damage with all 3 of these DPS units. And in the case of this team here, you can actually get it done with a S0 Chihuan. And really an S0 Shorekeeper is fine too. The S2 is luxury, but it is great value. It is great value, as is Sigrika's S2. Great value. So this team has a ton of value if you want to invest in early sequence nodes. And as I just showed you, and if you had a token here, which we don't, but if you had a token here, you're talking about probably 1.5 times that score. So probably about 15k instead of 10k. So, anyways, and as you can see, like my rotations are not smooth. I'm a skill issue player. So, if you're someone that's a little bit better and faster than me, you can be doing a lot better than I am. So anyways, that's what I have for you today. And we're going to continue the series with the part 3, and we'll dive deeper into some other units, like maybe Luke Herson, Denio when she comes out, of course, and we'll do a lot of other fun things with our vertical investment guide. So thank you guys so much for watching. Please remember to like and subscribe. You can leave a comment. Let me know how you feel about this content. Does it resonate with you? Is it kind of useless? But yeah, that's what I have. So thanks a lot, guys. Have a wonderful day. Thanks for watching. Appreciate it.